What's up people, and what's up Pokemaniacs? It's your boy RantNRavinFection, and in this video we're going to be counting down the top 10 most overrated Pokemon from the first three generations, which I am very familiar with. I have played through Pokemon Blue in the first generation, I played through Pokemon Crystal and Pokemon Gold in the second generation, and Pokemon Ruby in the third generation respectively. And I just recently got through playing Pokemon Fire Red. So anyway, let's get started. Number 10, Gyarados. Oh man, Gyarados. Now, this Pokemon first appeared in the first generation, and he is an evolution of Magikarp. And you know, Magikarp was a seemingly useless Pokemon. I mean, he was kind of almost like a comic relief Pokemon. He was virtually useless because his statistics were really weak. He didn't have a lot of strong attacks. He only had Splash, which didn't do anything. But if you had the patience and took the time to raise him, he turned into the really powerful, really strong water/flying combination Pokemon, Gyarados. And you know, I mean, Gyarados is very overrated to me because this Pokemon was included in the first generation, and also he was included in I think all three generations in the final battles, like in the final bosses. He was somewhere to be found in that particular list. You know, all the Dragon Masters had him. So Lance had it, and Drake had it. So you know, Gyarados, first of all, here's what bothers me about Gyarados. Gyarados is not a dragon-type Pokemon. He's not even a dragon. He's a serpent. He's a sea serpent that could fly sometimes, okay? And he could use Dragon Rage. But he's not type dragon. You know, he's a combination of water and flying. Yeah, he's got tremendous attacks. He's got tremendous statistics, okay? But he's not all he's cracked up to be, because, I mean, first of all, he could get destroyed by a thunder, okay? By any powerful electric type attack. Especially with that combination of that weakness against electricity, which is water and flying. So he's twice as weak against any, like, decent thunder attack, and any electric Pokemon can pretty much decimate Gyarados. So Gyarados is not that impressive to me. I think he's just way too overplayed. It is a pretty strong Pokemon, but I mean, you know, aside from a red Gyarados, which you can find in the second generation, I like that color distinction. Aside from that, you know, he's not really that. He's overrated. It's just that, yeah, he's strong, but it's like, okay, he's got weaknesses. You know, he can be destroyed. He's not a real dragon, so you're overrated. You know, stop using this guy. Just stop it. All right, number 9, Porygon. Oh my God, Porygon. Porygon. Talk about overrated. This Pokemon was like the most expensive Pokemon you can buy, literally with your money, with your Pokemon cash, in the original generation. And if I'm not mistaken, it was also available in the second generation. It cost them like 9,999 coins to buy this guy, and you know, coins are extremely expensive when you buy them at the game corner. They cost like $1,000 for like 500 coins or something, you know, or 10,000. Really expensive. You waste so much money in the stupid looking First of all, it looks retarded. I mean, Porygon, you know, he looks like a cheap hexagon, polygonal, like hexagonal kind of like mismatch or mixed match or whatever, like a bad kind of mid-90s computer game character. You know, it just retarded, you know, horrible statistics. It's type normal, you know, it wasn't particularly strong, its stats weren't particularly impressive. I mean, when it evolved into Porygon 2 in the later generation, yeah, okay, it got a bit more impressive and more worthwhile finding, but especially in the first generation, it really wasn't worth checking out. It was pretty damn weak, and the fact that it was way too expensive to buy, it wasn't worth the money at all. Alright, number 8 most overrated Pokemon, Kingdra. Kingdra is the evolution of Seadra. He first appeared in the second generation. You know, Kingdra is the evolution of the final evolution of Horsea, and then would turn into Seadra. You know, basically all water types up to that point, until eventually they turned them into a dragon type mixed with water. So really, it had very few weaknesses. Matter of fact, its only weakness was the Dragon type, because even Ice types couldn't do super effective damage against it because of the water resistance, so it made Ice type moves normal against. My problem with Kingdra is that it's way too overjacked, way too overpowered, way too overrated. A lot of players, I can understand why they want this, because it has very few weaknesses, and it's pretty strong as far as stat-wise. It can be a really strong tank, but Kingdra, first of all, look at its appearance. It looks horrible. It looks terrible. It's a very ugly looking Pokemon. I can't stand it. Whatever happened to Seadra? You know, Horsey and Seadra, they look pretty cool. You know, Horsey looked like a cute little horse, seahorse Pokemon, and you got Seadra, looked pretty cool, really sleek, really spiky, and then you got Kingdra. It just looks like this weird squiggly mess, man. It looks like this really ugly, disgusting looking weird Pokemon. I just, ugh. Ugly design, you know, overpowered, just, get out of here. Alright, number 7, most overrated Pokemon. Ho-Oh from, this was the second generation. I don't know how you pronounce the name, you know, some people said Hawuwu at the beginning, but, you know, Ho-Oh is, one of the legendary Pokemon, meaning that there's only one Ho-Oh per game, and, I mean, one thing that I can't stand about Ho-Oh was that he first appeared, not even in the games, but he first appeared in the anime in like the very first episode where Ash sees a Ho-Oh, or one of the earliest episodes. He sees a Ho-Oh flying across the rainbow, you know, at the end of one of the earliest Pokemon episodes in the anime, and then everybody started wondering. I remember this as a kid, you know, this was before Gold and Silver came out, way before that, back in '98, where everybody was wondering what the hell the Ho-Oh was, because he wasn't even included in the Pokemon games. He wasn't in one of the 150 original Pokemon. You know, everybody thought he was Moltres. What's going on around here? Or is it some kind of weird, you know, new Pokemon? And then when we finally found out what Ho-Oh was, you know, at first, you know, everybody just thought he was you know, that cheat, Missing No, or whatever it was called, Missing No, which was some kind of weird, it was basically a bug which allowed you to maximize and get a lot of specific items and cheat in the game, but it could also corrupt your game if you captured the Missing No in the original games. But Ho-Oh was incredibly, it was pretty lame. It was just a Firebird Pokemon. Didn't really impress me that much. It was just another lame combination of fire and flying. We already have Moltres, so what's the point of having a Ho-Oh? Yeah, okay, it's a Phoenix type character, but who cares? It's not that powerful. Lugia was much more interesting anyway. Number 6, most overrated Pokemon. Sizer. Sizer is a combination of, if I'm not mistaken, Bug and Steel, because Sizer is the evolution of Scyther, the very popular bug/flying Pokemon. Now, Scyther was legitimately cool. You know, a lot of people wanted Scyther because he looked cool, and legitimately so, because he was cool looking, and he was sleek looking, and he looked like a really cool, ferocious Pokemon with 2 sights for your arms. And you know, what made Scyther really cool was that he could fly, and it was really fast. It was one of the most unique bug Pokemon of all time. And then they turned him into Sizer in the second generation. What you had to do was you had to trade him. He was a trade-only Pokemon. You had to trade him with the Iron Coat or the Steel Coat or whatever it was called. So you couldn't get them naturally in the game. If you only have one copy and you couldn't trade with other people, you don't have a game link to trade with other people, good luck getting a Sizer. I remember everybody wanted to get a Sizer back in the day, but really Sizer really kind of sucked because, first of all, his statistics. Yeah, he grew a lot of defense because of the Steel edition, but guess what? You take out his flying, he became really, really slow. His speed was cut down like in half or something. He was incredibly a slow-paced Pokemon. I don't like that. I don't like it when a Pokemon's speed gets cut, especially when you're in evolved form. How do you get slower when you evolve? That doesn't make sense to me. His defense did go up, but at the same time, he became extremely weak against fire-type attacks, which is very prevalent in Pokemon. You know, a single flamethrower can destroy Sizer because he's a combination of bug and fire. He's a combination of bug and steel, so he would get destroyed by any fire-type attacks. I mean, you know, that's a dual weakness right there. Too bad, too bad. Number 5, most overrated Pokemon, Rhydon. Oh my God, is Rhydon ever overrated? Jesus. Oh my god, is Rhydon ever so overrated? I remember Rhydon back in the first generation. This guy was used in... He was in the final battle. Can you believe it? He was in the final boss fight against your rival, which was Gary. Okay? Gary ended up using this guy, and, I mean, a Rhydon. Really? You know, I mean, he's supposedly one of the strongest Pokemon out there. I mean, yeah, he had one of the toughest, strongest attacks, physical attacks, okay? But, I mean, come on. This guy had a dual weakness against water types, because he was type rock and ground. And we all know how much water type Pokemon are out there, okay? It's so common to get hit by a Surf, or a Bubble Beam, or a Hydro Pump from water type Pokemon, and you know, Rhydon is extremely weak against these attacks. And so, I mean,